Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today I am joined with by Joey Vera of Armored Saint, who is about to set out on their North American tour with Queensrÿche. Uh, Joey, let me ask you, for those who have already seen Armored Saint live and are coming through to see you again, perhaps, anything different they can expect this time than perhaps the last time they've seen your band?
Well, we're changing the setup quite a bit this
Mm,
time. We get pretty we get pretty bored with playing the same old songs in our set. We have
yeah.
obviously there's some of the old classics we have to play, but the other stuff around it, we always try to dig deep into the deep cuts, and so we're pulling some stuff out that we haven't played in a while, and also some songs that we haven't played on our most recent record, Punch in the Sky.
Mhm.
So yeah, so there's going to be some new material coming on.
And in what ways will the experience be the same as, fans remember?
Well, you can always expect to be high energy.
Yeah.
We're gonna we always give 200%, so people can also expect a high energy show from us, and entertaining. And we're also try to be a little bit loose. We're just a rock band at heart.
Hmm.
So we just try to keep things flowing and sort of spontaneous, and you never know what's going to happen any given night.
Cool. And you're hitting the road with the legendary Queensryche. Have you toured with them before?
Yeah, we've done a few tours with them. We did a short tour with them in Europe
Hmm.
sometime around 2016,
Hmm.
and then we did a tour with them in 17 in the US. So we've done a few tours with them before.
Cool.
Yeah, they're
And
great. They're great friends of ours. We consider each other really close friends, and it's always a blast to tour with friends because it's just so much easier to travel with people that you actually like.
yeah, so it sounds like this pairing was just made sense. It was completely natural.
It's it's awesome, and both bands. We just saw them on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and we hadn't seen them in a few years. Excuse me. And
Yeah.
so it was hugs all around, and it was cool. It's going to be great.
Hmm. Now, I know last year you had to cancel some North American tour dates because of injuries to a member of Wasp, and so it must feel good now to be back on tour after, that leg of the tour had to be shut down.
Yeah, sure. We were looking forward to it, but things happen, and it's unforeseen. And what are you
Hmm.
going to do? It's just call it a act of God,
Yeah.
and so you can't uh, you can't uh, you can't change those things, and out of your control. So
Yeah.
you just got to roll with them. That hasn't happened that much to us in our history, but they do happen every now and then, and you just got to roll with it. So we're
Hmm.
excited to be back out. We were looking forward to changing the setup and bring excuse me, bringing in some songs from the new record. So now we get a chance to do it.
Yeah. And, when this band started out putting out records, in the mid 80s, did you have any idea that you would still be touring in 2024?
No.
Yeah.
Flat out no. It was weird. I mean, when we first started, we were 19 years old when we started this band. So
Mhm.
we were punks out of high school and just living for the moment. I don't think any of us even thought the thought of even reaching the age of 30 was like that was never going to happen, let alone, still in the same band with the
Yeah.
same people, 40 some odd years later. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, and I'm curious, how has, as someone who has been in kind of the business of heavy metal and seen the landscape, how has the scene, the industry changed since you started this band?
Well, a lot of things have changed. Technology is probably one of the biggest things that's changed.
Hmm.
So that has, influenced the way people listen to music now and the way people acquire music,
Yeah.
because of technology, the technological changes. It changed all that stuff. How you get paid, it's changed that as well.
Mm.
So I mean, there's so many ways it's different. I mean, but at the end of the day, I still think that, you know, the same this what hasn't changed is that bands, you get together with friends, you like the same music, you
Hmm.
right, you get in a garage and you rock out, and then you start playing gigs and you get in a van and you play shows. That hasn't really changed, and I don't think it should change. Um, things, you can get your music out to people quicker now with the internet and all that,
Yeah.
um, but you, the thing that hasn't changed is paying your dues. Like there's no real way to there's no way around that. And it's not to say that like, what's the quickest way to get to success? It's more about like, what you need to pay dues for is you need to pay dues so that you become a better musician, a better person, and a well-rounded. Your band is just well-rounded. You're going to be a better band the more you do that.
Hmm.
Um, it's different now with, like I said, technology. People can make records now in their bedrooms and by themselves. Like they don't even need a band,
Yeah.
And look, there's some great artists out there now that are doing just that.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for getting a six-pack of beer, going to a rehearsal room, smoking some joints,
Yeah.
and then playing your favorite music.
I
Nothing,
mean,
nothing beats that.
and so do you keep up with some of the newer bands? Do you find that there are bands, that are doing that, that are paying their dues as you describe?
Well, I don't know of any, like, can't think of any that are like that I know personally, but
Mm.
from what I can tell, like looking on the outside, I mean, look, I'll just I'll pull Lorna Shore out as an
Okay.
example of a band that they're not exactly a new band, but they've they've been around for a while now. But that's a band that went through some changes, changed singers, right? I don't know much about their history, but
Yeah, that sounds
um,
about right.
yeah, and then but they've been doing it for a while, and I know that it might be centered around the main songwriter, but still, the band they go out and they do a lot of tour dates, and they do it
Hmm.
all over again. They put out records, and they're in the machine, if you will, and so they're paying their dues, and it's for them, it's starting to pay off. They're
Yeah.
becoming really popular, so that's an example that just came to mind.
Yeah, no, that's a great example. And for you now, who has done that, who has gone on, tour after tour after tour, how does it stay fresh for you? How does it stay exciting?
Well, for me personally, it's the new music.
Hmm.
If we weren't writing new music and recording new music, I don't think I would be doing this. The touring part of it's not enough for me.
Yeah,
I actually don't really like being away from home.
same.
I do love traveling. It's kind of a double-edged sword here
Yeah.
because I really do love traveling. I like it a lot, but I don't like being away from my family. So that's the hard part is finding a
Mhm.
balance between those two things. But if it wasn't for the new music, um, I wouldn't leave the house, So
Yeah.
it's so that's the thing I think that keeps it fresh is that we get to play new material,
Mhm.
and I think we're pretty fortunate that the records that we've been putting out over the last 20 years, basically, our fans have gone along for the ride, and they want to hear the new music as well. I mean, they want to hear a couple of the classics from the old days as well, but
Of course.
but they also want to hear new songs, and that's really fresh for us because that makes it exciting for us. So that's
Mhm.
yeah, new music.
Yeah. When you do tour North America, are there specific cities that you're always excited to hit? Like you just know that it's going to be a great show, or you just like exploring the city outside of the show's time?
Well, there's a lot of places that I like. I love Chicago.
Of
I love
course.
being touring in Cleveland's great. The Northeast is always great. Tri-state, New York, Jersey. We're playing a show in Long Island this year at the Paramount Theater, and that's always a great venue. It's a really cool venue. That'll be a good show. Worcester, Mass. That'll be a good show. Texas, we're playing. Those will be good. Florida will be good because we don't get to play Florida that often.
Hmm.
So we're doing like 4 shows in Florida, so that'll be cool.
That's awesome.
And we're going to Montreal this time. I haven't been to Montreal in maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. So
Mm.
I'm looking forward to Montreal. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a bunch. Every city is, I love basically every city is cool. I find something cool about every city.
sure. Well, I mean, the tour like officially is about to start, but you have played a few fests like the Life After Death Horror Fest in Mexico City. So far, how
Yeah.
have these shows, these set lists been received?
We actually didn't play that show because the whole festival got canceled like
Oh,
literally 5 days before we were supposed to leave. They just pulled the plug on the entire festival.
damn.
So yeah, that was a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But so we haven't actually played other than we just got back from the Monsters of Rock cruise,
Okay. Yes.
which went out of Miami, and that was last week basically. And so that's where we got to play the part of the new set. We didn't
Hmm.
want to play the set that we're doing on the Queensrÿche tour because we're going to treat that separately.
Sure.
But we pulled out a few songs that we were getting ready for the Queensrÿche tour. So we played one night there, and it was fantastic. We played the first night that the boat left. We played at 6 p.m. So everyone's like just on board and ready to go. So the show was killer. It was awesome.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen a show on a boat before. What is it like to play on a cruise?
It's actually pretty cool. I've done 4 or 5 now,
Yeah.
and I was reluctant at first, me personally, just because I'm not huge into cruise ships anyway.
Hmm.
But the idea of being on, it's basically like a floating giant nightclub
Okay.
with 5,000 people, and there's no escaping. Like you can't go home for 5 days.
Hmm.
So, when you think of it like that, it's daunting. It's like, oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But but I have to say that it was actually really fun the first time I did it because
Yeah.
it was first of all, it's run very well. It's very well organized. It's super top notch. All the staging and everything's super top notch. So that part of it was fine.
Yeah.
And then all the people, all the fans and the general public that are there to see bands, they're all your people. They're all fans of your genre of music, and we all have the same thing in common. And everyone's of the same age group basically, and
Hmm.
so everybody's super polite and
Yeah.
super respectful of your space, and it was like so it's actually cool. And
Cool.
performing on a stage and on the boat. It doesn't move much. It's boats nowadays are they're so big and the stabilizers are
Yeah.
so great that you don't even notice it. The only time I did notice it was we did another Monsters of Rock, or was it Motorboat? I think we did another Monsters of Rock a couple years ago, and Anthrax was on the bill.
Damn.
And I
Okay.
went to see them, and they played in the theater in the back, it was in the located in the very back of the boat.
Yeah.
And it was one day where the seas were particularly really rough, and you could see the guys in the band were like trying to stand up straight. It was crazy, and everyone in the crowd was like, "Whoa, whoa!" So that was the only time I ever noticed that it was kind of wacky.
Apologies for my dog barking in the background here, but
Yeah, all
uh
good.
yeah. uh are shows selling out? Do people need to pre-order their tickets? Is it are they going fast?
Some cities are, but
Yeah.
mostly, mostly,
Cool.
mostly, mostly tickets are available. So
Yeah.
anyone wants to go, I would say, pre-order them or walk up. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. But I would check with each venue just in case, because some of them are almost at capacity. But if you want to go check out where to get tickets for the shows, just go to armoredsaint.com. It's real simple.
Mhm.
Armoredsaint.com. Everything's there. Click on tour, and you'll see all the tour dates. And it's, it, tickets are available there.
Yeah.
That takes you directly to each venue or whatever. So it's all one click away, as they
Hell,
say.
hell yeah. Now, I did want to ask you, I did recently read Brian Slagel's new book, and you were mentioned a couple times in it, and I'm curious, like as someone who has worked with Brian, who's such an iconic figure, what is he like on like a just a personal basis outside of just like being metal blade?
I've known Brian quite a long time.
Yeah,
He's a great guy. I mean, as a person, he's just what you would imagine, really.
yeah,
He's a big he's a big music fan,
of course.
not just metal fan, but he likes music. He just likes all music. And he's super down to earth, friendly, loves to share stories.
Mhm.
He's got a lot of great stories and he loves to share stories. Um, he's he enjoys a good meal. He
Yeah,
loves hanging out, in that way of just sitting around and having a few glasses of wine and talking and shooting the shit over nothing.
yeah.
Um,
I know he's really into
yeah,
hockey.
he's really into hockey. Like you have no idea how he's into hockey. Like he has this house that it's like the house is only it's like a I don't know 3 or 4 bedroom house. And the
Yeah.
only thing in this house is hockey jerseys.
That's
It's
that's into
crazy.
hockey.
He is so into hockey. Yeah, he always goes. He lives in Vegas, so he's a big Knights fan, and
Mhm.
yeah, he's been a hockey fan forever, for like forever, as long as I've known him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's good. He's awesome. We used to have when we first got to start getting to know each other, it was, you got to remember it was 1982 at this point, so
Sure.
very early on, and the new Every British Heavy Metal was just a brand new thing, and we were all into the same stuff: Saxon, Motorhead, you know, Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, all the early stuff from 79, 80, 80, 81.
Hmm.
And so we used to have this thing where every time we'd see each other, I don't know how this thing started, but we just, as soon as we saw each other, like normal people would say, you see friends and you go up and you shake hands or you give a hug or something, but we would basically dogpile each other. So whenever we see Brian, we would just go up to him and jump on him and dogpile him. Of course, we don't do that anymore because at least we pretend to be adults now, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
that's how
Well,
long I've known him.
yeah. Well, someone as you who has a lot of experience with this, let me ask you one last question. What makes heavy metal so exciting to see live?
Probably the aggression,
Hmm.
the energy and the aggression. And that's probably the one thing that is exciting to see in a live setting.
Yeah.
You know, kind of comes from probably influenced a little bit from the early punk rock days, of
Sure.
like anti-establishment is where it originated from. And,
Yeah.
it's really hard to be anti-establishment nowadays,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, it certainly has an aspect of that now. Like, you know, it's the one place where you go into a room full of people of like-minded, attitudes, and you get to share in that aggression and that energy,
Yeah.
and you feel safe there. So that's probably the thing that makes it exciting.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That for me, that's true. And that's what has kept it going for since Sabbath in the 70s. So like, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you need like we all need we need an escape, It's like
Mhm.
when you go watch a movie or something like that, when you go see a live show, a live heavy metal show, you want to go into a room and forget about the world outside. Like get away from all the whatever, the mundane stuff that you go through day to day or your problems or whatever's going on in the world. And it's a time and a place to just let it all go, get your aggressions out, feel safe doing it because you're with like-minded people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, Joey, thank you so much for joining me today. Before I let you go, I want to leave the floor for anything for you, for any last words, any last plugs, help, and give any extra information on the tour that my viewers might be interested in. It's all yours.
Sure. I mean, I'd say go for tickets or info about the tour at all. Go to armoredsaint.com.
Mhm.
Everything's there. There's also a news feed that goes on goes along there. We have a new single coming out that we recorded a month ago.
Sure.
That's coming out in January on Metal Blade Records. I'm sorry, it's coming out in June on Metal Blade. In a couple of months. And we're also doing a tour in Europe.
Okay.
Um, it's a festival tour with a bunch of headline shows added onto it. That's in July and August.
Okay.
And yeah, so everything at armoredsaint.com is where you go for your info. And I look forward to seeing everybody on the road. We can't wait to see everybody. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks again for joining me. And for everyone at home, you know the drill. My name is Maddie, aka Beavermosh. I'm signing off.